people in this county have fought oil ever since we were still using horses as the primary mode of transportation. So it's somewhat a traditional vocation here in this county, but it is, as the revelations about fracking have come out into the community, we've seen a real inspirational growth of activism in the community, including the proposed ban. A ballot measure is being circulated as we speak to ban fracking in the county of Santa Barbara. And when I attended their rally last week, I was just struck by how many people were there, how many people were willing to gather signatures, and that I only knew half of the people in the place. I want to thank, first of all, Chairman Stone for being willing to come down here, and I also want to thank Janet Wolf and the Board of Supervisors for being willing to give us a space. And Chairman Stone's being a little modest, though this is not a policy committee. Both Mr. Stone and myself are on the policy committee, the Natural Resources Committee in the state legislature. Both of us have authored bills that, though they were not successful, they were taken individually, they were not successful, they were rolled up into the large regulatory structure of fracking. We both did bills on the interaction of water and fracking. So we've been able to contribute to the regulatory structure, but it is disturbing in the extreme when the regulatory structure that exists in the state of California is ignored by the Mineral Management Service. For over a decade, our local great environmental attorneys at Environmental Defense Center have established the right of the state to consistency review, that the federal government does regulate this, but they have to inform state regulators, and state regulators are supposed to be able to sign off on changes to offshore operations. That was not done. That procedure was not followed. And we immediately, when EDC and Truthout's Freedom of Information Act requests revealed that offshore fracking was taking place, I sent a letter to the Mineral Management Service demanding an explanation. 9 months later, right? One of you could have had a baby in the time that it took the Mineral Management Service to respond to us. We said, why aren't these procedures being followed? And their response to us was that we have long treated essentially these unconventional techniques as conventional techniques. There's a sentence in the letter where they basically say we have long treated these unconventional techniques as conventional techniques. And they are not conventional techniques. I think it is just immensely important to indicate that this is a whole new world of extraction, and that the state has the right to oversight. And I just don't think that anyone, whether they are supportive of oil development or against it, can say that the state does not have the right to have the oversight to protect the public health. And local companies maintain that they are not discharging fracking fluids into our ocean. I would then ask why it is necessary for them to have permits that allow them to discharge into our local ocean. And so these are some of the very difficult questions surrounding offshore fracking. Of course, what Mr. Stone and myself are going to be wrestling with is how can we, as representatives of state government, get the federal government to do its job and to get Mineral Management Service to actually consult with state regulators.